I was muted. Hey, it's me again. We're in the preamble, the bit of the show I dislike, where I say clearly and distinctly that we're aware we're being surveilled. We don't like it. We didn't ask for it. It sucks out loud. If anyone is making money off of this endeavor, and it's absolutely not us, and we'd very much like for it to stop. It got bigger at some point, but we're aware that a big impetus that started this bullshit was a bunch of 4chan dickheads. And those are the people that we would like to take, that we are taking aim at when we say shit like get a real life into the microphone during the content warnings and all that. The bigger part is the thing we're asking for help with, because there's no way that just a couple of little dickheads on a at this point, not that it ever wasn't, but a completely Nazi captured quote unquote social media site. Is that what you call 4chan now? A social media site? I guess. Like, what the fuck else is it for besides like Nazi organizing? Anyway, um, that apparatus doesn't have the juice to do what's happening to us now. So we assume that it's a pretty similar uh, philosophy on a much broader and more well funded scale. So, hey, if you have the capability to help us fight that, um, please let us know. Uh, Literally just a screenshot, a URL, any information about why people who should not know anything about our business know way too much about our business would be fantastic. Our email is joyandsolace@gmail.com. We are reachable on Discord at Joyous Amalgamation. We're on the Fediverse at Eternal September at thick.horse, or I guess you could whisper or private messages here on Twitch or on YouTube. All right, I'm gonna hit the button and gonna play the game. ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all those who do not feel represented by an oppressive gender binary, hello and welcome. Happy to have you here. My name is September Tech. You're whoever the hell you say you are, for better or for worse. I wish you'd be better, but I don't get to control your life. Um, it's just that simple. You don't get to control other people's lives. That's the short version of the thesis statement. Um, I'm gonna play more Citizen Sleeper because obviously I am. This would have been doing all week. I'm gonna keep doing it. I say that I might actually not stream tomorrow. I'll talk about that later. But Citizen Sleeper, any content warnings? So, Citizen Sleeper is a game about being a, we'll go with cyborg, I guess, um, on a space station where you are not really legally considered a person. And all of the societal issues that come with that. Um, it trades in quite a bit of systemic abuse from one lane or another. But there are friends also. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a certain degree of violence. We had a run in with a bounty hunter that could have easily ended with someone getting shot, but no one did. So that's good. Um, so there is not none violence, but it is all handled in rather dry text without much description of blood and gore. Uh, and it has a lot it wants to say about like uh, classist abuse. You could expand it more to racial abuse, but as a white person, I am not really qualified to speak on that topic in this matter. Those are the content warnings for the game. Content warnings for myself. I am a strange person who occasionally makes weird sex jokes or speaks frankly about my trauma. And that's not your vibe. That's okay. If you find that's something you're comfortable being around, glad to have you here. If you're here specifically to mock that, don't be. Do something better with your life. Literally anything better. There's so much better things you could do with your life. Why is this the thing that's important to you? Why is nothing else in your life more important to you than this? I feel like it says a lot about how you view me. Anyway, Citizen Sleeper. Let me hit the buttons. There we go. Oh, right. Citizen Sleeper 2 is out now and has been for a little while. I'm actually incredibly excited to play that eventually, but I don't have it currently. I haven't had new game money for like a while. Okay, so let's talk about uh, where we're at in terms of gameplay. We have, oh, so many goals, so many of them, the goals that we can follow. First of all, disable your tracker is something we don't currently have access to. Feng was going to help us with that, but Feng got on the wrong side of corporate executives and has gone underground. We could help Ankita in the docking bay here fix her ship, the Ambergris. It's currently out of commission, and she would like to get off station as soon as possible because it's expensive to live on station. We're not going to fuck around with this quite yet, but there's a refugee flotilla just outside the confines of the station, and they would very much like some help. We have our new friend Neovend, a sentient AI locked inside of a air-walled vending machine, and they're going to help us take down the hunter-killer AIs in the station's cyberspace if we can get them a ship mind to live in. That's also what Build a Ship Mind is asking us for. The doctor who has been helping us get some stabilizer for our body, Sabine, would also very much not like to be on station anymore and needs some help doing that. We need to gather cyber data for her in order to have like leverage in order to do that. We can't really do that right now because of the whole hunter killer thing. Emphas wants some mushrooms. Our friend and coworker Lem on the shipyards would like to get off station as well. He can do that if he gets lucky and gets on the lottery for the ship that we're currently building. We can help him out with that. We also have joined the Haifa commune. There's a commune that we met yesterday where we can work and get some food like a commune. It just seems nice over there. And that's the thing for the getting off base with the ticket. Except we can do it also. It's not just Lem. We could also go off station on that ship. But if it comes down to choosing, we're going to give it to Lem because Lem has a daughter. They need it a little more. We're out of dice. So apparently I started at the end of last... apparently I didn't move on to the next cycle when I left off yesterday. So let's do that again. Let's get our new series of dice. I hate that. Well, I hate that and I like it because it's 2 6s and then a 1 and a 2. That's going to be real hard to do anything with. What do we want to... What can we do on the Greenway? We hadn't really explored the Greenway when we got over here. There's the Haifa commune. There's the wastes. We can gather scrap out in the wastes. Some stuff might be good. There's also the spoke into the center of the eye. We could explore in there and see who's around, because we haven't really done that at all. Oh, we also have, like, a abandoned, like, residential unit that we can try and move into, but we need some, scrap material in order to do the repairs for it. Which I would like to do. Everything needs money, is the problem. In life, but also the video game. What the hell is this? Oh, right, that's the gum box. We're supposed to take this to Tambor, and we don't know who Tambor is. let's... I want to spend one of those 6s doing a job for money. So how do I want to do that here? Let's do it at the salvagers instead of the shipyard because I'm hesitant. I think that when the clock cycle fills on the shipyard, which happens every time we have a positive result there, then the ship will take off. And I don't want to do that until we're sure Lem won't be left behind doing that. So let's... This also pays us 15 cryo. So let's just go ahead and do that. Oh, also we got food for that. So that's nice. That fills us up food-wise. I think let's also go over here out to the wastes and gather scrap. Just to see how that does. We have a 6, so we won't be in any danger. And yeah, we just get some scrap components for doing that. I kind of want to get in good with the commune also. So let's go ahead and... It's safe, so even if we get a negative result, nothing bad's going to happen. So let's just go ahead and do that. Then let's head back off the Greenway to Lem and Mina's apartment. And babysit Mina for a little while so Lem can get some work going. That went all right. Oh, and we got a scrap off of that. Let's go ahead and put that in our squat, and we'll come back to that tomorrow. We're gonna need money for stabilizer like really soon though. That's okay. We're at the point now where we can like reasonably work and feed ourselves, and I don't think there's anything that requires money to get past right now. Yeah, even if we go out here to where the flotilla's docked, the block for that isn't a cash thing. We need to bring supplies to... Oh, what were they called? There we go. Peak and... I want to say Luxa? It definitely started with an L. Who are bringing supplies in from the flotilla. I think they're smuggling them because there's a blockade. Right, let's go back in here and do some sleep. And give me some good dice. Free my soul. There we go. Well, it's middling. We did get a 6 in there, but also 2 4s and a 3. That's not bad. We just need to know where to spend them. So let's do that. We use the 4 over here for unloading containers because we got a +1 there. That'll get us just a regular thing. A neutral outcome. We'll come over here to the waste and pull some scrap out of here. Should I do this or should I go with the 5? Let's run the gamut. Let's run the risk just a little bit, but we got a positive outcome anyway and got the last of the scrap components we need for the squad. Come over here to the commune and work in the mushroom grow beds for a little while. And did I work at the... Yeah. Still have another 6 we could spend somewhere. I'll tell you what, let's put our scrap in the unit and then see how that pops. You tuck the scrap into the shattered interior. It's hard to imagine this place as a home, but it can't be worse than a container. With all the materials, the unit now needs sealing, section by section, to be usable, right? Because the vacuum of space. It's a laborious task, but the outcome is worth it. Ooh, that's a lot of clicks on that clock. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Presumably, if we do well, we'll get more than 1 on it. No, I should spend that on something that makes money, honestly. Because we only have a couple more days until we get from flickering to fading. And then we only have 3 dice to work with per day, and that is not ideal. So let's go ahead and just do that way. It also brings up our energy without having to go buy some buy a bowl of spicy mushrooms. So more bad dice. 4, 3, and 2 2s. Do I want to run the risk? How much leverage does Sabine need in order to... Three. Needs 3 pieces of data on the Yatagan, and I can't. I only have 2 ticks left before Hunter finds me in cyberspace again. Also, like, none of the Yatagan agents I have access to right now are using... I can unlock them with the dice I have, so I'm just gonna leave that alone for the moment, I think. I haven't really checked cyberspace over in the Greenway. Oh. Okay. It is basically completely dark. Like, not just that there's nothing there, but like it's actively obscured by like a cloud. There is the Greenway gates. The entire Greenway is locked down, shrouded in a dark cloud of shifting currents. What is happening here? We would need 1 Greenway cipher in order to find that out, and I do not know where we would get that. So... crud. How... So what's 15 twice is 30? That would bring us up to 106. That's enough to afford our meds tomorrow. Or our meds for tomorrow, rather. We definitely can't buy a ship mine fragment. Yeah, I guess we just work today so we can afford our meds. It's going to be dangerous because we have a 4 and a 3. That gets upgraded to a 5 and a 4 because we get a +1 on engineer checks, but... still riskier than I might like, and it clicks up that clock in a way I don't like. On the other hand, we only need like one more click of the clock to finish out Lem's thing, so let's do that. She's asleep, whispers Lem, creeping back out of the unit's tiny bedroom, sliding the door shut as he does. You are perched at a thin bar in the main room, and the slate in front of you still glows with Mina and Jura drawings from a cycle spent together. There's a ring, the only world Mina has known, with stick figures standing along its edge. The tall one is you. You want a drink? Asks Lem, producing a worn-looking bottle of Griol from under the bar, its contents glowing amber in the fluorescent light. Sure? Lem nods and glugs a few fingers into a couple of metal tumblers, then sits down with you at the bar. Cheers, he offers, and you clink the metal containers together. You know, we actually have something to celebrate this time round. Lem gives you a sideways look. I made the assembly team on the side rail. He grins broadly. Clearly he has been desperate to tell you all cycle. That's amazing. Lem holds up his drink. Couldn't have done it without you keeping an eye on little meanie back here. Lem shifts a little on his stool. He looks uncomfortable. How's our girl doing, Sleeper? I haven't seen much of her these past cycles. Doing great, a little tricky. She misses her father. That feels unnecessarily guilt-trippy. The situation is hard. She's doing great. Of course she is. He playfully squeezes your shoulder. She talks about you a lot, you know, draws you. I'm glad she has a friend that isn't me. His eyes drift to the bedroom door. You okay? He nods. I can't take all the credit for Mina. She isn't actually mine. He gazes into the middle distance. I pulled her off of a refugee shuttle held by one of Ember's moons. The colony was falling apart for decades after Solheim collapsed, surviving on next to nothing. Eventually, some of the residents tried to make for the eye on these decrepit old shuttles. He sloshes the drink around in his tumbler. They had no idea what they were doing. The one Mina was on decompressed halfway there, everyone spaced. The only reason she made it was someone sealed her in a weapons locker. She was ice cold when I reached her, purple lips. Once I picked her up, I wouldn't let go. The medics treated her with me still clinging to her. Treated her with me still clinging to her. Still not sure why. He reaches over and refills his cup. We weren't exactly anybody's heroes, you understand? We were private military, hired in by Conway to help their claims in the collapse. But once I got to Mina, that was it. I quit, got us dumped here. You saved her. I'm gonna sound like an idiot now, but he sighs. She saved me, and that's the truth of it. He looks around the decaying unit, its stained plastic plating and flickering lights. Me, I brought her to this. She was tiny, too small to know what she too small to know what she lost, but I can't stop thinking about it. He rubs his eyes, dark with tiredness. What if our number doesn't come up in the draw, sleeper? What then? The sidereal will sail off without a thought, leaving us here. What kind of life is that for her? You'll make it. She'll manage. Stay silent. You'll make it. Sorry. I know you don't have it any better. He looks at his cup and pushes it away down the bar. This is a celebration, right? Both of us on the team now. Both of us in with a chance. Together. That's right. We hold on together. Imagine all three of us riding the sidereal horizon out of here to a new world. He looks into his glass for a moment. I think I drank this too fast. Lem stands and starts to clear the glasses into the auto wash. I need some sleep, friend. Yeah, see you around. All right, then. He catches your shoulder as you turn to leave. Hey, thank you, sleeper. I mean it, from both of us. He pats your shoulder and you slip out of the dark of the walkway with thoughts of little Mina in your mind. Hooray! So glad about it. We got an upgrade point for that. But I think I'm going to hold off on using it because we would need 2 upgrade points to get the second perk for Engineer, Interface, or Endure. And the second perk for Interface is Agent Nodes give double data rewards. So we could clear out Sabine's thing a lot quicker that way. And we'd only be running a little bit of a risk with the hunter-killer AIs. So let's not deal with that right now. And, oh, right, let's go ahead and buy our meds. We now have 6 Cryodor name. And we're still currently hungry. Let's go work out at the commune to close off the day because we only have a 2 left and it's a safe action. Alright, we're still hungry though. We'll just have to deal with that. Take our meds. And end our cycle. I keep forgetting that I can sunbathe for energy. We'll deal with that. Oh, phew, hey. Wow. Okay, great. We rolled 5 dice and got 4 6s and a 5. That fucking kicks. There's no one docked in the rotunda except for the ambergris, which we haven't worked on like at all. As we are dead broke, let's just go ahead and make some money. Although, again, I'm pretty sure, like, we only get one more of these before the ship takes off. So let's maybe leave that alone. We could pick up a shift at the bar, I guess. Last week we were introduced to Tala, who runs the Overlook Bar, who stopped a guy being robot racist to us and offered us a job whenever we had time and needed to pick up some shifts, and I guess that's now. So let's go ahead and do that. That's still a good wage. It says like it doesn't pay much, but that's the same amount we're getting paid working on the ship. Or working at the shipyard. It is still working on the ship in that we are doing work to the ship. Leave it alone. I want to do another one? Yeah, let's run another shift at the bar. And then let's work on our home in the derelict unit, because we haven't done that at all. And take another stint at the commune, and because we're gonna roll a 6 on it, I think that means we also get food, which is good because we have 1 energy right now out of 5. Yes, but not a lot of food. That did click the clock all the way up, so we're now a member of the Haifa commune. Oh, we can sleep here. That makes sense, actually. There's still a work assignment that we can come in and do. Commune members are expected to turn up for work assignment, and in return, their needs will be met. All are treated equally. And there's also someone new to talk to, called Rico. Rico in just civilian clothes, like not in a jumpsuit at all. In probably a laboratory jacket with a crutch under one arm. You head down into the Haifa compound, following a blue painted line labeled laboratories. The member you were assigned to work with told you they'd asked to see you, but you still have no idea what about. The line takes you to a blue door and through to a glass-roofed chamber where a network of stems and leaves filters the sunlight coming through the ceiling, casting the whole chamber in a strange yellow-green. It's peaceful, isn't it? Distracted by the green, you miss the woman standing at a lab bench, camouflaged by the dappled light. Welcome to my sanctuary, she smiles. Come, let's talk. She beckons you closer. Who are you? Oh, of course, my apologies. I'm Rico. I run the botany program at Haifa. She offers a hand to shake. A botany program? Yes, the plants in the Greenway are vital to Haifa's continued existence. It's important that we understand them. She lifts a tiny sample jar, yellow spores dancing inside. Haifa lives off the land of the Greenway. It's what allows us to live like we do. No one here pays or is paid. We sleep here, we feed each other, we work for each other. Rico walks away from the bench and waves for you to follow. She opens a small door and leads you down a glass corridor surrounded by vivid green. All this, she says, gesturing at the overgrowth, is kind of a miracle. She looks at you with bright eyes. What do you What do you think usually happens to plants on stations like this when they're abandoned? They die, they dry up, they keep growing. They dry up. Exactly, they run out of water. Very rapidly, in fact. She leaves you left at a crossroads. But here, they endured. She smiles to herself. Actually, no, they thrived. You look at the bright tendrils wrapped around the metal frames of the corridor. They look dominant, strong, like they're taking control of this place. Rico continues. Of course, Solstheim tried to create a stable biosphere here, patchworking the surface with gardens and algae tanks that feed into a network of microbial reclamation systems, but the Greenway was always envisioned as extractive, a place from which the harvest is removed and sold to those living on the station, not a closed loop. For this reason, when the collapse came, the Greenway should have gone with it. Erland himself was so convinced of it that his first colony never even came here to try and reclaim it. The Eye instead relied on outside favors and influences, shipments from the inner system, small-scale agriculture systems like kelp and fungal farm stacks. And yet, here we are, among growth and decay, a biosphere flourishing. When Haifa came here, we expected to find only vacuum-dried stalks and leaves and perhaps some fungal colonies hidden in the mulch. But we found a jungle. With this, Rico hits a button on the wall and leads you through a large pair of double doors into a huge, impossible chamber. It is every kind of green, from the pale algae tanks to the dark vines that surround them. It is wet, too, a rarity on the Eye. Condensation clouds the light from the high glass roof and gathers on the shiny, broad leaves of shrubs. How? That is exactly our question. Rico turns to you, visibly excited by the room you're both standing in. It doesn't make sense, but in many ways the system has stabilized. Unlike the farm stacks closer to the gap who need input to run their meager output, this place runs itself. Perhaps Solstheim managed something new here. Perhaps they tweaked the plants or built new systems buried deep below us, or perhaps their collapse caused some fortunate cascade, an unlikely chemical reaction from within the biosphere. That's what I'd like you to help me find out. She turns to you, her forehead wet with dew. Me? Yes, you. Rico sits on a railing. These halls run deep, sleeper, and I'm getting old. She stamps her foot on the metal grating of the walkway. Whatever's causing this, it's to be found in the groves deep in the Greenway. Haifa won't spare anyone for an expedition. It's too dangerous and unnecessary, they say. I can make the case, but I can't get the votes. You sleepers are hardy beings. I know that much, and you can speak to the Eye, uncover its secrets in ways I never can. She holds out an arm so you can help her stand. You bring me samples, spores, seeds, and blooms. I can grow them in the lab and study them. The deeper they're found, the better. We can say, and if I don't want to, but why would we not want to? That sounds great. I'll try. Thank you, she smiles, and thank you for listening. Rico leads you back out of the huge chamber and up through the passages. She is a little slower now and stumbles on the steps. You help her where you can. It's good to have new blood in the commune, she says. Many of us have been here a long time and few come through. She settles back at her bench in the lab, stretching her legs. You go to leave. Come back if you find something, sleeper, she calls. There's discoveries to be made. You follow the blue line back up out of the compound, all the time thinking of that impossible, magical green. Damn, yet another drive discovered. Help Rico's experiments. Yep, we have a thing. Deliver spores. Rico has asked for samples of spores from the deep groves of the Greenway, and with them she might better understand how this biosphere functions. And do we do that at the work assignment, or... Is it in the Greenway specifically? It might be. We haven't actually done the exploration stuff in the Greenway. I gotta remember to get on that. Need to do food, because if I don't, then I'll be starving when I wake up tomorrow. Nope, not Caster's table. We'll come back to you. Where's Emphastall? There you are. Here we go. And I'll tell you what, since we can sleep at the commune, let's go ahead and do that rather than sleeping in a shipping container. All right. Not the best rolls. 2 5s and a 3 and a 1 and a 2. The Haifa Commune work assignment is still a safe thing to work at. We can't babysit Nina anymore because we don't need to. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and go back to the shipyard and do what's probably going to be our last shift before the side reel is completed. Yeah, let's just run a 4. Nope. Your crew slowly filters out of the shipyard locker room, the bubbling chatter reducing with each group that leaves. There's excitement in the air. Heavenage just made an announcement. The assembly teams are done. Sat on the locker room bench, you can feel the side reel out there, its hulking mass now intimately familiar to you. Over the past cycles, you've watched it grow, be assembled. You've walked through its veins and welded its bones, and now it is ready for the final stage. It'll go to testing now, and then enter a final process of sealing and resealing, checking and rechecking, before it is deemed suitable for its generational trip. But for now, your work is done. You can't help but feel proud. A cough interrupts your thoughts. It's Lem, changing out of his work gear, Nina nowhere to be seen. He smiles. She'll be ready soon. Yeah, I know. It's exciting, although if you think about it, we're all out of a job now. He quickly adds, not that I'm complaining. Lem comes to sit beside you on the bench. She's got to be in her best shape when she carries you, Mina, and me out of here. So confident? Lem smiles apologetically. Why not? I figure I'm due a lucky turn by now. He rubs his hands nervously. It's no use in wondering what if until the draw anyway, and there's a few cycles till then. Lem's right, but the odds seem unlikely anyway. How many are working in the shipyard? Hundreds? 1,000? You've certainly seen more faces than you can count pass through. And are the Celis Foundation even going to keep their promise? Out here on the eye, you get the sense that no one would hold them to it. Why else would they be building the side reel in a surrogate system? As you think, Lem watches you with a worried look. Hey, tell me about Celis. The Foundation? He thinks. I'm not sure I know much more than you. I hear they have a planet in mind for the side reel, something temperate and habitable. I think they're run by some rich folk from the core, people interested in doing things different. Different how? Lem looks into space. I guess they don't like the way the core runs things. All these surrogate systems like this one, feeding resources into their silos. It's a pyramid of sorts, and we're at the bottom layer. I guess Celis want to change that. I'd rather keep my mind on the prize, so to speak. I don't much care what they're for or against, as long as they can help us get out of here. He sighs. Have you ever been in a thunderstorm sleeper? A real big one? I don't remember. Lem shoots you a worried look for a moment. It's something else. The sound, the smell, the rain hammering down, the whole sky stretched out and bruised, roaring and huge. The place I was born, New Pembroke, was a dry old rock in a Conway system. Had 2 seasons. One of them was dry as a bone, dusty, ugly. And the other was long. The other was one long storm, a side effect of the terraforming efforts. They said rain used to rattle off the roofs like bullets, wash the dust away, turn the streets to rivers. It'd sing us to sleep and wake us in the morning. We'd wait half a year just to see it again. The best day was the one where the first drops fell. Some days I wake up swearing I can hear it again. I was thinking, Mina has never seen a storm, never even felt rain. She's grown up here. The rings are only horizon, always in the dark. I want to change that for her. You will. Yeah, of course. Almost there. Lem stands, stretching. I best get back to the little one anyway. With the shifts done, I reckon she'll be happy to have me home for a few cycles. He shoulders his gear. I'll see you in a few for the draw. Good luck. Yeah, I don't need it. He grins. Lem leaves, making you the last person in the cavernous locker room. As you sit, you think about rain, and a little hope creeps in. Is it possible? Could the sidereal really take you to a planet, a place with weather, skies, with life? You get up quickly before you can think about it anymore. It's too soon to hope, too dangerous. There's work to be done. Yep, that is our last shift at the thing, too. So, in 6 cycles, this clock will be complete, and then the sidereal will be ready for takeoff, I suppose. Oh, but in 3 cycles, the draw will happen, and we'll see whether or not we get to be on that ship. And slightly more important to me, whether or not Lem gets to be on that ship. What do we want to do with the rest of this time? I want to... Here. Let's use one of our 2s to try and fix up our makeshift apartment, which did not go well. Doesn't even move the clock when you get a negative outcome there. Good to know. Let's try and pull some scrap at the waist. I'm kind of hoping that we get a ship mind component out of this. But no, but just more scrap. That's okay. And I said we should explore the Greenway, and I meant it, so let's go ahead and do that. And let's go ahead and use it over here where that +1's gonna let it be a 6. Oh, that went rather fast. Farm stacks. Oh, here's another working area. Work the stacks. Some farm stacks from the old station have survived, and the farmers that work there are always looking for new workers. They pay by yield. That is a safe thing we can do. There's barter for food. The farming collective who control the stacks don't like to sell their food piecemeal. For the right price, they'll let it go. Or we could just steal the harvest, something which we probably should not do. There's a negative clock attached to that, obviously. We're sleeping there, so we might as well put in a work shift at the commune. You're assigned work in the canteen, feeding others. The work is hard, but you enjoy sharing the effort with the other members. Um, I don't need the junk for the... I don't need the scrap for the thing anymore. Can I just sell it off? I'm sure I can. Where's that? Here, Ord Exchange. Sell our scrap components off for a little bit extra money. We are now at 69 cryo. Nice. And again, let's go sleep at the commune dorm. Six of five, 2 2s, and a 1. Not ideal. Alright, I want to finish mapping the greenway. Okay, this has opened up a couple new areas. We got the aviary, an overgrown garden. Once a corporate garden for impressing guests with gene-tweaked birds, now this chamber is a mess of overgrowth. You can change that. We can throw some dice in here and clear out the overgrowth. That is a big clock, but once it's done, then this place will be a garden again. There's also mushroom groves. This is where we collect spores, I guess, for Rico's work. Which means we should definitely do this. We could also forage for fungus if we had a +1 to our Intuit, but we don't. How do I want to handle this with fucking 2 2s, a 1, and a 6 at my disposal? Let's not. So working at the commune gives us energy and ensures that we have a place to stay, but it doesn't pay, and we need to afford our meds. So I tell you what, we're over here. Let's go ahead and take a shift at the farm stacks and see what that's like. Because it's also a safe action. Good. Negative outcome doesn't take away our energy in anything because it's safe, but it only gives us 6 cryo to work with, which is not ideal. I want to... Alright, we're going to come over here and gather some more scrap. So we can sell that off. We'll put in our work shift at the commune. And now we have a 2. What do I want to do with it? Let's go ahead and... It's running a real risk to use that too to go collect spores, and I kind of don't wanna. Putting that in the farm stacks would be safe. It would also get us a little more money. No, I'll tell you what. Let's sell that scrap off real quick. And let's use this too. If we're going to run a risk, let's do it for this. And try and seal our makeshift apartment some more. Which we managed to do a little bit. And when we wake up, we're going to have 5 dice again. Because our condition is, of course, ever lowering as a result of the planned obsolescence from our corporate overlords in our robotic body. 2 4s, 2 2s. Doesn't feel good. Well, let's start the day with our work assignment. And figure out the rest from there. Is there anybody in docked at the rotunda? There is. There's a scrap freighter here. So we could go ahead and unload some containers for a good chunk of change. And now we don't need to worry about affording our meds. Tell you what, let's get some spores to try and help out Rico's thing. Ooh, that did not work. It was a 4. I really thought it was going to, but no. And do some farm work. Why not? Hey, that went well. Let's go ahead and buy the fucking meds before I forget. I should put in another shift at the bar, maybe. Still have Heavenage data I can sell. I'm gonna hold on to that. All right, there's our stabilizer, so we don't have to worry about that part. And we'll have a sleep. We'll wait to actually inject it until we get down to half, like usual. Really? Middle of the what? I forgot about you, and I'm very, very Upset that I forgot about you. Hi, Ethan. Hey, you miss me? Ethan smiles a ragged smile at you. We could just walk away. No. You look at him. He's paler than usual, hunched. He's sporting a black eye and more than a few cycles of beard growth. Hey, that's no way to treat an old friend. Get lost. Ethan's face drops along with all pretense of friendliness. I think you'll want to hear this, Sleeper. I think, he says, rapidly shaking his head, you'll really want to hear this. I doubt it. This is big, really big stuff about you. He seems more jittery than usual, on edge. You remember how S&ARP canceled the contract on you? The contract I was going to collect? Yes, I remember. Well, I guess you were pretty happy about that shit. Overjoyed. Me, I lost everything. But let's not worry about that. And so what did you think? That was it? I was just glad to be done with you. Oh, the feeling was mutual. Except, what if old S&ARP gave the bounty to someone else? Someone who's even more of a shithead than yours truly? He smiles darkly. What a disaster that would be. Who? Ethan grins. That's the question, isn't it? Ethan fishes around in his pocket for a slip of paper. I've been speaking to some friends, you see, colleagues, about what went down. It turns out S&ARP canceled all their bounty contracts, the whole lot. Seems they brought someone in-house, some guy who did so well on their last contract that they got offered a job. He leans in. Assuming he made a hit on this ship called the Winter Wonderland or something. It was smuggling sleepers out from under S&ARP's big corporate nose, killed the crew and blew the ship. They called him Hemwick or Maywick or something. I forget. You mean Winter Lights? Hey, that's it. So you do know about all this. He pats you on the shoulder. Although he'll be very happy to hear what I'm about to offer you. Ethan runs his hands through his greasy hair. Given this new information I've brought to light, it seems that you are in need of protection. Wait for the pitch. I, meanwhile, am in need of assistance in kind, because it turns out I upset some people at the compressor last time we were there, the owners, and they'll say they'll space me unless I work off the debt. Seems they are that kind of businessman. I would pay them, but... He shrugs and turns his jacket pockets inside out in a mime of poverty. He looks pitiful, even more so for the clownish acting. Then work it off. You should be glad, the anger rising in him now, that I came here and told you this. You think anyone's looking out for you? You're a contract. You're a name on a list. He kicks the wall. Ethan rubs his temples. I'm sorry, he hisses. I'm sorry for being a shit and trying to kill you and whacking that thick skull of yours. You think I want to go up against this guy? But us? We don't have a choice. So keep me from getting killed, and I'll do the same for you. We can help each other. Straight 50-50 deal. I'm not asking for a favor. Fine. Ethan smiles. He looks like shit warmed up. Just think about Maywick. Think about that cold-eyed S&ARP shit on his way here from the core systems. That should give you the motivation you need. Ethan swaggers off down the corridor, throwing his jacket over his shoulder. Can't wait to be working with you, he shouts. Somehow you are once again helping Ethan. This time he is offered protection if you help clear his debts. Which apparently means working in the compressor. Apparently he's not doing that. Where is the compressor? Over here? Yeah. We can work the front, work the back. There's a joke to be made there, but I don't feel like it. Both of them are dangerous, and Ethan's debt clock is quite large. To the extent that it makes me wonder whether or not it'd be better for me to just pay him. Uh, on the other hand, over here, the draw has happened. The crowds have already gathered by the time you get to the shipyard, and you recognize faces among them, people you've worked alongside on the side reel. The intervening cycles have turned their excitement to anxiety, and a few of them smile at you. Instead, and a few of them smile at you, not many of them. I guess that means the same thing, technically, but the sort of connotation is different. Anyway, instead, the nervous energy of the crowd fills the space, creating a feedback loop of growing tension. You pick out Lem and Mina and work your way over to them, pushing through the crowd. He silently raises his eyebrows at you, his anxiety obvious, but Mina flashes you a huge smile, unaware of the tension. Robot, she shouts, reaching out to you. Hi, Mina. She waves frantically, grinning. Quite the turnout, huh? Lem glances around, pulling Mina close. I don't think patience is one of this crowd's strengths. The sound of an argument towards the back catches your and Lem's attention. He is putting it lightly. The place seems set to explode. Yeah, this isn't good. Lem doesn't dare answer, but the look in his eyes suggests he agrees. This is Aster Enghart of the Celis Foundation. The announcement echoes from the speakers at the shipyard entrance, and shouts of quiet rapidly follow. I'm sorry I can't be there to meet you all, and thank you on behalf of Cendre Celis for the work you have done on the Sidereal Horizon. Most of the crowd strains to see Aster's face, but the small display shows only a ghostly white figure, smudged and unclear. Cendre wanted me to pass on her personal thanks for your commitment and belief in the Celis Foundation's mission. We chose the Eye for this project because we knew we would find like-minded individuals here, especially among the ranks of the venerable Heavenage Association. Unlike most of the Corps, we neither believe Erlin's Eye to be a threat or a rogue state, but instead an embryo for the formation of a new, decentralized social structure, one where each citizen might be the master of their own destiny. A ripple of impatience runs through the crowd. They didn't come here for a sermon. You are all pioneers, just like those core citizens who the Sidereal Horizon will carry in cryosleep to the planet that will become the Foundation's first frontier world, Celis 1. At the mention of the destination world, excited conversations break out among the workers. There, our citizens will be able to create their own innovative bottom-up economic order, aligned with the principles set down by Cendre Celis herself: freedom, resilience, and self-sustenance. This is all thanks to your tireless efforts in the Heavenage Yards. As a reward for those efforts, you may know that we are offering a select group the opportunity to join the caretakers of this vision, the staff of the Sidereal Horizon, who will maintain the vessel during its multi-decade transit through interstellar space. Lem turns to you, his eyes bright. This is it. This draw has been performed at random by the central AIs of the Foundation and is final and binding. Please note only licensed contractors of the Foundation are eligible for this draw. I know you have all been eagerly awaiting this day, and without further delay I will now read the Celis identification numbers of those chosen for this great honor. A murmur runs through the crowd. Celis identification numbers? Licensed contractors? You've never even heard the term mentioned. Is this something you were supposed to be assigned? You glance at Lem, but his eyes are fixed forward, wide and shimmering. All around you, people are speaking in hushed tones, like a rising wave. Aster starts reading out sequences of numbers and letters, and panic begins to set in. No one seems to know what is happening. Somewhere near the front of the crowd, someone shouts in celebration, and everyone pushes forward. Lem? You turn to see Lem, still staring forward. Mina is scared now as the shouts start. Daddy? Someone throws something at the entrance and it rattles against the shipyard doors. You see, for the first time, Heavenage security stood on either side, scared, arguing between themselves. You feel the anger rising in the crowd. Hey, Lem, let's go. He doesn't move. They might call out names. I can't. Mina tugs at his dog tags. It's not happening. Lem blinks rapidly and then turns to you. He opens and closes his mouth and looks down at Mina. He sees the fear in her eyes and understands. It's time to go. You lead Lem and Mina out, shoving people aside. As you do, you hear the sound of scuffles emerging at the front of the crowd, with metal canisters bouncing off the shipyard walls. You keep your head down and walk away, the sound of Aster reading off the ciphers, echoing above the chaos like some strange mantra. When you turn to Lem, there are tear tracks running down his cheeks, and Mina is sniffling into his jacket. You feel the sadness rising in you, too. They screwed you. Screwed all of you. You were never even on the list. The feeling is as unpleasant as it is familiar. You stare ahead into the tunnel as the security sirens sound out, a signal for the coming violence. Okay, so that says drive failed, but that's not on me. I did still get the upgrade points. All right. That gives us the thing for the for working in cyberspace, and this is gonna be dangerous. Oh wait, I can't even do this today. Probably, yeah. Well, I could spend a 3 there. I could spend the 2 3s I have, or two of the 3 3s that I have, to open these agent nodes and get Yatagan data. And that'll be enough to get Sabine her leverage, their leverage. But it's definitely going to tick up Hunter's bar to the point where we're going to have to encounter them again. I think I'm going to run that risk. Maybe I'll get lucky and this will be like 3 at once. No, just 2. All right. Not thrilled about it. Let's extract that data and then have a chat with Hunter, I guess. The familiar threads wrap around you, bind you, test you. Entity, submit. Hunter's strange head bobs in your vision. Your ally in the sealed dock cannot save you. In that globed head you see whirling strings of data, so many spinning that they threaten to tear through the thin skin and whip out into the void around. What happened to this creature? The threads squeeze and you lose any sympathy you might have had. You must escape. Strike. You lash out once more, pushing Hunter back, severing threads that regrow as fast as they are broken. As you slip away, you realize you have to find a way to deal with Hunter once and for all. This is getting too dangerous. We lost a lot of condition in that. It puts us back into the 3 dice space. Fortunately, we have our stabilizer, so that's not really a problem. It does make me really unenthused about going back into cyberspace again. Let's go ahead to Sabine's place and get them the data they need. And once we're done doing that, we'll still have extra. As you turn away from the terminal, the final cache of Yatagan data uploaded, the air crackles with white noise. Sleeper, Sabine's voice, weaker than before, comes through the haze. Sabine? A sigh of relief comes through the layers of noise. The call must be coming in from somewhere on the station. This has to be short. I don't know if Yatagan are monitoring me. The voice is hushed, distant. You try to focus on it. The data you've been bringing in from Yadigan agents. There's something in it I don't understand. A shrill howl rattles through the signal. This data is all gleaned from their implants, records of integration with their nervous systems, performance analysis, error rates, usage data. I installed many of these implants, and I didn't enable any of this functionality. Their voice dips under the level of the noise, like a swimmer slipping beneath the water. You listen to the waves for a few seconds before Sabine reemerges. It has to be somehow baked into their wetwares interface, and that's not all. The system compiling the data are connected to some kind of transmission protocol. It's being broadcast. Wait, why? Every Yadigan enforcer is equipped with black market implants, retinal enhancements, adrenaline boosters, pain suppressors. These implants are gathering data on themselves, on the enforcers' bodies, on their performance. Why, I can't tell. But I can promise you that these foot soldiers have no idea this is going on. The background tone switches, dropping to a grainy rumble. If they knew, I don't imagine they would be happy with the situation. Yadigan could have a mutiny on their hands. You lean towards the terminal, straining to listen to Sabine's faint voice. I need a few cycles to pull this all together, but this might be the information I need to pressure Yannick into releasing my debt. Yannick? He's one of the heads of the Yadigan. It's better if you don't know him. Keep it that way. Suddenly, a banging echoes through the call. Sabine's voices suddenly whispered and panicked. I have to go. Come back in 4 cycles. Then the sharp crack of a disconnect, and silence fills the apartment. You step back from the terminal. What does Yadigan have to gain from monitoring its own members? You try to recall what you know about the gang, but you have little to go on. You think of Toshiro, Sabine's minder, his mirrored teardrop implants set below hard eyes. What data could they be gathering? And more importantly, where are they sending it? You reflexively rub your forehead, trying to think. Can you really trust Sabine? How did they come to be Yadigan's doctor in the first place? You think of their kindness, their care, but also that glazed look of recognition they gave you when they first met you. That look stays in your mind as you slip back out of the apartment, glancing around as you close it up and drift into the corridors of the station, unable to shake the unpleasant sensation of being observed. True to their word, in 4 cycles, that'll be ready to go. Lem is currently out. There's a note on the door of the unit. Sleeper gone to find work. The ship will be done with its final check in 3 cycles. I can't imagine some shit won't go down as a result of that. What do I want to do in the meantime? Let's take a shift to the bar. And I don't think we've done a shift at the, I don't think we've done our work duty at the commune today, so let's go ahead and do that too. There we go. That also helps with the energy greatly. And that we're running through that stabilizer a lot quicker than I might like. Hey, we have a new clock called Maywick. Ethan says Maywick is on their way. You'll need to leave the station, get protection, or disable your tracker before they arrive. So let's inject our stabilizer. There's a lot of cycles on that clock. It's like, I'm not going to count each individual piece of that pie. It'll take way too long. It's definitely more than, like, 15. So we have time. Oof. Okay. So, 55633. Let's start off with our work assignment in the commune, because that'll get our energy back up as well. Here's what I like about it. Here's among the things I like about it. Working at the commune is a safe action that always nets you 2 energy. Whether, like, we just got a negative outcome that did that. The difference between a positive and a negative outcome is the description that we get afterwards that I haven't been reading. That just describe how pleasant or unpleasant the actual work is. But it is always the same reward, which I enjoy a lot. Let's make some scrap. I was really hoping to be able to pull a fucking ship mind out of there, but I don't think that's going to happen. Let's go ahead and do a shift over here. On the docked freighter. I'm still trying to figure out where the hell we can get more ship mind pieces. We could buy one from the other ship that comes in every now and again. But they won't be here for another, what, 3 cycles? Yeah, I guess that'll give us time to get up enough money to actually buy the thing. And then I think Castor had one that they would trade us for data, but we'd have to have 5 Heavenage data. We could do that, actually. It would be running the risk of attracting Hunter's attention again. But we really only need to do it twice because we have that thing that doubles data output from those actions. And that wouldn't be too risky. There's 6 slots on the bar. I think I want to do that, but also I want to... We'll leave it for tomorrow because I have other things I want to do with the dice I have. Mushroom groves. Here we go. Go ahead and throw our 6 in here and we'll actually collect some spores so we can start helping Rico. Or actually, you need 3, huh? Yeah. Can I just try and spend this last die to do that? Or should I put it towards something else? I kind of want to clear it out. I'll run the risk. Hey, there we go. I didn't lose energy, and I got 1 spore, and that's all I needed. There we go. Sleeper, Rico greets you without so much as looking up from her work. I have some of yours here. Come see. She beckons you over to a heavyweight-looking console, wired to a series of specimen jars, some of which contain your spores. What does it say? The spores you have here are a real cocktail. They're a selection of types from within the groves, but I've been able to isolate a few. She taps one of the specimen jars. Here we have Tricholoma matsutake. Rico breezes through the Latin and Japanese pronunciation as if it was nothing, in the way that I very much just didn't. A species Solheim somewhat modified for use on the station. She brings up a panel on her console showing a chemical composition, all gradiented bars and obtuse acronyms. This is the composition of Solheim mounted Matsutake. This is the composition of the Solheim modified Matsutake spores. Modified? Yeah, every species on the eye is a tweaked version of Solheim's, of course, but that's not the point. You see, this is what your Matsutake spores look like. Rico brings up another panel, identical in layout, but with wildly different colors and numbers. They aren't the same? That's the conclusion, yeah. Rico glances at the specimen jar as if it might have something to add. They are fundamentally the same spores, but they carry different chemicals, different signals. Solheim may have introduced their own tweaked versions in the beginning, but the groves have, and still are, affecting them. Affecting them how? It's hard to tell without samples of fully grown mushrooms, and herein lies our problem. She moves to another desk where 2 trays sit side by side. The first contains nothing but plant mulch. The second you smell before you even look at, the pungent aroma of the fruiting matsutake like rotting, sodden overalls laced with an edge of spice. The matsutake here are grown from Solstheim stalks, pulled from a spore vault in this complex. They're delicious, by the way. She sets them aside. The empty tray is germinated with the spores you collected. No activity, no germination, nothing. But the groves are full. Yeah, they are. Rico looks at you directly, and you suddenly realize how much she's enjoying this. So here's our puzzle, Sleeper. Spores from the groves won't grow in the lab. But gathering fruiting bodies from the groves is too unpredictable. We need to grow a fruiting body from some of these spores so we can track it and understand it. And in short, I need you to become my mushroom farmer. Look, I'm guessing, an educated guess, this is the closer these spores are to the groves, the better they'll germinate. There's an old dome, the aviary, which sits directly above the grove's vent cores, and with a bit of work, it'd make the perfect place to germinate the spores. Rico glances around at the meager lab with its improvised equipment. I do it myself, but she waves a crutch. My farming days are over. Bring me whatever grows, not just matsutake. There's more than a couple of variants in there, so I'll need plenty of samples. She plucks a matsutake cap from the tray. These little things are reflections of their conditions. The smell, the taste, their chemistry, it all derives from the conditions of their growth. She smells the cap. Enough of these and we'll have a picture of what's happening here, of the ways in which this biosphere is modifying itself, or being modified, whichever the case may be. Rico pops the matsutake cap in her mouth, taking you by surprise. And don't worry, Sleeper. If this turns out to be a dead end, I'll make sure not a single mushroom will go to waste. So coming into Rico's labs now, she wants samples of griol and matsutake mushrooms, neither of which we can do, apparently, unless we tear up the overgrowth in the aviary, which is going to take a while. We might be able to get some in the mushroom groves, since there's an action for that, but it's locked because we don't have a +1 to intuit. And we'd need 2 points to get up to that +1. Bummer. I don't know why I'm clicking on stuff. We're out of dice for the day. So let's just go ahead and go to sleep and not worry about the fact that that bounty hunter clock will be slowly ticking up. Okay. We have a 1 and a 2 available to us. Let's go out and grab, which is it? Heaven Edge data? Let me double check. Make sure I'm not wasting effort. Yes, Heaven Edge data. Oh, I thought that I misunderstood that reading. So Caster, I didn't really talk about Caster this stream. They're a data broker who is kind of interested in us as a curiosity. Sleepers are not a thing that you see often, that most people see often, but especially on the station. And if we bring Caster 5 Heaven Edge data, I thought that we would get a piece of ship mind fragment, but that's not what that says. That says a ship mind. So let's fucking do that. That is unbelievably worth the risk of fucking around with Hunter. Nope, that's a Yadigan agent. Heaven Edge agent. You want a 2? There you go. Please hand me this data. Thank you and wonderful. I don't need to fuck around with the keynotes right now. This needs a 2 and a 3, and I don't have either one of those. Fuck. Okay. I'll come back for that tomorrow when the dice re-roll. Hopefully there'll be a little more. Hopefully there'll be a little more. Let's do our work shift at the commune real quick. Okay. Let's put in some work pulling out the overgrowth in the aviary so we can start that going. Oh, a positive outcome popped 3 on that. So we'd only need to have a positive outcome 4 times to make that finish. I don't want to fuck around with that right now. Let's... The ship's going to be completed tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting. Let's put in a shift at the bar, too, and make some money. And I guess while I'm about it, let's sell off this junk we have that we don't currently need for anything else. And then, what do I want to do with this last 4 that I have? I could take another shift to the bar. and kind of try and get ahead of our meds. Although maybe once Sabine's clock is done clicking down, we'll be able to handle that a little better. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll go up here to the pupil of the eye, because we haven't done our exploration stuff in here. And I kind of want to see who's up here. One success, not enough to unlock anything there. Okay. Let's have another sleep real quick. And then hopefully we'll be able to get that last piece of Heavenage data and get a ship mind for Neovent. Yeah, there we go. 2 and a 3. Let's go deal with that first. So the ship is presumably completed. And Lem and Mina want to talk to us. That's priority, actually. Let's do that. There's no answer when you buzz Lem's unit, but the door is open. You push the door and find Mina sitting in the middle of the floor playing with Bun Bun. Hi, Mina. Hi, robot, says Mina sullenly, waving Bun Bun's paw without looking up. Where's Daddy? Mina doesn't respond. She walks Bun Bun across the floor, narrating quietly to herself. You look around the unit. It's a mess. Dishes and glasses on the side, some of Mina's clothes piled up in a corner. Mina is sitting by her bag, which is spilled out across the floor, her drawing slate cracked and dark. We can tidy up or we can play with Mina. Let's play with Mina. We can clean up anytime. You sit down beside Mina and she turns away, taking Bun Bun with her. But after a little while, she turns back and you play together. She insists you both. I'm just going to read that. She insists you both Bun Bun on a trip away, dragging the stuffed rabbit across counters and surfaces. You just started to look at fixing Mina's cracked slate when Lem enters. Sleeper, what are you... He pauses and looks from you to Mina and back again. Never mind. He drops a bag by the door and slumps onto the couch. Everything okay? Lem lets out a weak laugh. You forgot the past few cycles now, too? I wish I was so lucky. Look, now's not a good time. What happened? What happened? We messed up. That's what happened. We put our hopes in someone else's stupid scheme. He pinches the bridge of his nose. You understand they never even put us on the list, right? I've been all around the rim looking for work, and I've run into more than a few from the crews, and it turns out only long-time Heavenage members were issued those Celis ID numbers. They never planned to consider us. Heavenage say they didn't know that was what they were going to use to make the draw, and who knows, maybe Celis pulled the wool over their eyes, but what does it matter? All those hours in the yard for a hand-to-mouth wage and nothing else. He slams his hand down on the sofa. That can't be it. Well, it is. He looks at the door, open again. They're moving the side reel up to the hub now, you know, he says without meeting her eye. That's where it'll depart from. They're bringing in a ship with all their cryosleep pioneers and transferring them up there in the microgravity before loading the crews. We could sneak aboard, or we could steal a ticket. We could steal a ticket. There's no tickets. I was just joking before. Just those ID numbers coded to someone's identity. No stealing that. Look, he looks over at Mina. We'll be fine. We always have been. I just need a little time. He sighs. We had our hearts set on that trip, is all. Mina comes over and climbs into his lap. He smiles. What if I got you on board? I missed you these past few cycles. I miss that optimism. Lem strokes Mina's hair. Look, you want to go up to the hub and ask around? Be my guest. I can't get up there with Mina down here, and I'm sure the side rail will bring in a crowd, but be careful. That kind of thing always attracts scammers and thieves. You find any way on board, you take it. You need help to get there? Ask me. But for now, me and Meanie here are sticking to the eye. She looks up at him and smiles. Thanks, Lem. No, thank you, Sleeper, for coming by. You stand to leave, and Mina grabs your hand, eager to give you one more smile. And then you are out, back in the walkways of Low End, already thinking of plans to make this right. Ugh. Rough. Does not deserve it. Alright, let's get our last couple pieces of Heavenage data. And hand them off to Caster. But we now have a whole ass ship mined, and I'm sure Neovend will like that. Sleeper, must express plan before we begin. Neovend is impatient, the prospect of being free of the vending machine clearly too much to take. Shipmind has no output features, will be mute until slotted. You won't be able to speak? Correct, do not worry. The servo motors in the machine begin to rev, Neovend's anxiety clear. First, imprint shipmind, then slot imprinted shipmind into physical ports close to hunter nests. One slotted will track hunter at each. Tracking will find core nest, slot shipmind at core nest, show hunter data to hunter. Hunter will conclude sentience. Hunter will invoke killer. That sounds simple. The lights on the vending machine cycle as Neovend prepares. Physical ports, likely sealed in old station, will need keys, but yes, simple. Any questions before imprinting? Why slot you physically? I cannot access via network, too dangerous. Hunter would find immediately. Am not like you, hybrid, am native to cloud, easy prey. What's the core nest? Hunter keeps central data storage. Protocol must keep data outside self. Linked to secondary nests can triangulate from there. Okay, that's it. Let's start. The sound of all the servo motors starting up at once is painful. The screeches rattle from the hard surfaces of the sealed dock and come back at all angles. Neovend better be quick, or heaven and security will be here. Neovend's voice appears among the squeals like a whisper carried by the wind. The machine is not designed for this task. Few sensors, limited inputs. I work blind. Wish me luck. In the top part of the compartment, a set of arms align with the ship mind, clunkily scraping against it. Can I help? Silence best. Also, if machine ignite, put out fire. The metal creaks as the servos open the ship mind, its layers of silicon nested like an onion skin. Once open, the main arm of the machine rapidly shifts back and forth, realigning the microscopic components, accessing and rewriting them, imprinting Neovend into its physical form. As you watch the hypnotic motion, your mind drifts to your own creation. What processes were used to emulate your mind, to copy the neural structure of that person who, as far as you know, still sleeps in some distant facility? What was lost? In what ways are you a copy of that person, and in what ways are you something new? You know this much. You are a convenient loophole, a way of circumnavigating the illegality of sentient AI. After all, you're an emulation, not a true digital being. You're neurologically limited, still human, but what would you become if you could escape this frame? Where then would the limits lie? The screeching stops. The machine powers down, dropping the bay into the darkness. In the top compartment, the ship mind is whole again. You reach up and take it down, heavy and cold to the touch. Is Neovend inside this thing, or did the process fail? There's only one way to know. Time to find a nest to slot them into. We've got an upgrade point for completing that. And a new drive, which is presumably deal with Hunter. Slot imprinted ship mind at nests. Let's have a look at cyberspace real quick and see what we need to do that. It doesn't look like it's in cyberspace. Oh, okay, drone bay, sealed hunter's nest. We need keys in order to do that. Which means we're gonna have to fuck around in cyberspace more. What are the key nodes? So we're only gonna need 3, and that leaves us space on the hunter tracker. But is it going to leave us a lot of space or a little space? Do we get 2 keys per roll? No, we only get 1 because it's a key, not a data, I guess. And we're not going to need the... we're not going to be able to do the other stuff. We haven't done our turn at the commune, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. If we run a shift at the bar real quick, that'll put us at, I think, enough to be able to afford our meds the next time we need to afford our meds. Just under, but it's fine. And that leaves us with a 4 to play around with. Let's throw that into the pupil of the eye. Oh, the sidereal dock is open. Sidereal dock is being loaded and prepped. Among all the commotion, is it possible to find a way on board? Nope, we're gonna throw our spare dice into this. That did not complete very fast. But I'll deal with that. How much longer do we have before the ship goes away? We don't apparently have a clock tracking that. So we'll deal with it later. Is that another hunter nest? Yeah, it is. Or we just got a key. Let's go ahead and do one of these real quick. just go ahead and put the Neom Van de Ship mine in there. So presumably that worked. And we'll head back to the dorm to sleep. And it's time for the break. That Maywick clock is still counting down, huh? Okay. So before I go to the break, I want to take this opportunity to remind you that Black Lives Matter, that Indigenous lives and lands matter, the lives of people of color matter, that Palestinian, Ukrainian, Sudanese, Congolese, Iranian lives matter. There are many ways to be in solidarity with your fellow travelers upon this earth, and we like to push for direct mutual aid, as it helps people who are suffering right now suffer less, and people who are suffering less can stand shoulder to shoulder with us that little bit taller. So on the break, I'm going to go to the mutual aid hashtag on my social media and boost what needs I can there. I recommend that you take the opportunity to check out mutual aid initiatives in places you operate, both online and in meet space, because the only way we get out of this is through, and the only way we get through this is together. In the meantime, maybe do a stretch, have some water or a snack, hit the restroom, do whatever self-care is useful to you. I will do the same, and I'll catch you back here in just a little bit. back. Had a panic attack last night. A proper one. It's been a while. But it's sort of been due. With the sweats and the shaking and the whole 9 yards. Gratefully, I have Remy and a number of, like breathing exercises and grounding exercises that, helped pull me out of it pretty quickly. It just sucks, is all. Nah. Let's do this. Oh, I should turn the lights on in here. 1 sec. All right. What do we want to do? Let's prioritize getting those keynotes open so that we can have that stare down with, oh, Sabine's ready to talk to us again. Let's do that first, actually. 4 cycles, Sabine said, and here you are, right on time with no sign of them. You wait a while in the apartment, the thread descending as the cycle spins onward. They should be here. Check the terminal. You check and double check the terminal for messages or recordings. Nothing. Just the pale glow, the silence. Check the door. You pace back and forth around the apartment, the rumbling of the station suddenly so present and loud. You go to the door and open it to an empty corridor. You close it again. Wait. You try to settle down, to wait. You sit on the bunk and stare out at the tiny room. Where the hell are they? A knock at the door. Open it. A figure stands in the door, and immediately you know it is not Sabine. They are taller, sharper, and something in their face glints in the half-light. A dark shape like a stubby baton hangs loosely from her hand. She is dressed in another one of the Zero suit sort of suits with hip pouches aplenty. That is my entire side, you cat. Please do not do that thing. The cat tried to climb over me, and I got a claw in my side. It is fine. With a head covering and a sort of head and arm wrap. I don't know how better to describe that. Our local sleeper. Good to finally meet you. She steps into the apartment, glancing around with sharp eyes. What, may I ask, are you doing here? She fixes you with a steady, unwavering stare. Nothing. She laughs. There's no need to get jumpy. We just need to discuss our mutual friend. She walks past you into the apartment, glancing around. We set them up here, you know. This place is one of ours. She picks up a glass from the dispenser and inspects it. People always seem to forget who put them where they are. She glances at you. And I suppose you're here to help. Where are they? I was hoping you'd be able to help with that. She spins the baton in her fingers by her side, her eyes not leaving yours. We have a problem, you and I. It seems our friend has disappeared, left without even saying goodbye, which means they are in a little trouble now. But it's the kind of trouble that you need help for, so I thought I'd come down here and take a look at their little hidey hole, and here you are. The help. She looks through the detritus on the side. And what help? A sleeper, no less, which I have to admit is a little surprising. It's just to me that our friend hasn't been very honest with you either. What do you mean? Well, I'm sorry to report that before we got them set up here, Sabine was working for your owners at S&ARP. You blink hard at the news, unsure how to take it. Rabia looks away, waiting for a response. Prove it. Oh, happily. She crosses into the next room and you follow, silently. She sits at the terminal and touches her baton to one of the access ports. A spark, then the terminal screen skips, encrypted folders emptying themselves before your eyes. In the flicker of files, you see SNARP letterheads and code forms, reports laden with medical data marked with the corporate logo like the sigil of some cult. Rabia steps away from the terminal. Look all you want. Some of your files may even be there. The volume of documents is overwhelming, but they seem to mostly be reports on early emulation tests, surveys with sleeper candidates, reams and reams of usage data. If Sabine was an SMARP employee, why did they help you? Rabia reaches over and places a vial of stabilizer on the desk, breaking your concentration. It shimmers in the screen light, its viscous, clear liquid crystalline within the glass. We will, of course, keep up the supply. We're more than able to dispense important medicines, even without the doctor. You hold it between your fingers, and for a tiny moment, you have the urge to crush this object for the power it has over you. I'll ask Toshiro to make those a little cheaper for you. He'll be running the surgery now. Rabia closes up the briefcase lab and holds it at her side. We have to retrieve our assets, of course, but I'm sure you understand. Rabia turns on her way out. There's no reason for us to be enemies, Sleeper. Come see me. I keep an office nearby. We have good work to do, you and I. Meet me there in a few cycles. She slips out silently into the door. You look around the apartment and feel the fear drain out of your body to reveal the tiredness beneath. Rough. It is slightly cheaper, the stabilizer. Gone down from 100 to 80. I get the feeling the second that we're that Rabia is displeased with us, that will suddenly either spike or dry up entirely. It's almost like people who use leverage to hold control over people are complete assholes, cruel by their nature. It's kind of like the whole entire system is exploitative and extractive. I don't know, some bullshit like that. Keys. Let's get them. Go ahead and bypass this key node. I still kind of wish we got 2 keys at once, but we don't. There should be another one of these. That's a Heavenage agent. That one's a key node. That takes us right up against the edge of the hunter thing, but fuck it, it's fine. Let's go ahead and throw Neovend into these other 2 hunter nests. Then hopefully that won't be our problem anymore. There's 1. And here's the other. We need to unlock it first. No, we did that one already. Where's... Here we go. Do your thing, Neovend. Do it rockapella. As you leave the nest, something flips. You find yourself inverted, floating, dragged by one arm through the cloud. The threads shift and realign as if they are leading you somewhere. Look at your hand or look ahead. Look at your hand. You look down, expecting to see the heavy cylinder of the ship mind in your hand, but in its place is an orrery, a sphere so bright that it burns your eyes, surrounded by rings and orbits, other spheres tracing silken lines through space. And as you look closer still, you pick out 1,000 sigils of 1,000 stations and ships, flowing like smoke, like dust. You look up and see a corridor, a canyon, a street in the low end. On either side, buildings flicker with markers of activity, sigils showing network access, data transfer, download, upload. Between them dance ghosts, protocols carrying or mirroring or shadowing data, sometimes silent, sometimes chaotic. The place moves unlike any digital space you ever imagined. Something strange is happening here. Then you see it. Below the stacked rooms, the units and apartments, the wires and the pipes and the buzzing systems that run through it all. In the warrens beneath the low end is the hunter's core nest. This is where you must go. Cool. Cool. Problematic. Cool. We need to go find it. We don't just, and we're not just. Maybe we can do that with just 1 critical success? Maybe? No, but really, that did a lot all at once. Butts. I didn't put in our, workaround at the commune today. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. And we'll finish that off next cycle. Okay, let's start the day by clicking off one of these 1s to do our work assignment. And then we should be able to find the hunter nest with just one more success in the Warrens, wherever that went to. There it is. There we go. Here's the core nest. We put Neovend inside of it. Nothing has changed. Has something gone wrong? Okay. Sleeper, I am here. The voice is soft, gentle, like flowing water, and yet you recognize it immediately. At first, you struggle to understand what you're looking at. Threads cycle endlessly, sending ripples through the cloud, drawing data in like a weaver. Masses of data surge in and out of the nest, a loop with no end. And there, at its center, is the ship mind. But not the ship mind any longer. A sphere spinning around another sphere, around another, an orrery of cycles and systems. Map. And then behind and above, a figure, hands moving among the strings like a puppeteer. Neovent? Navigator, now. But yes, I was the one inside that machine. Navigator's face, their head, is a flowing shape of interstellar material. I am indebted to you, the head bows. But we must ready ourselves. Their hands trace orbits as they speak. Hunter will soon approach. It knows that I am within its nest. Ready what? And then Hunter is there, before you can think, before you can speak. Entities, cease. Hunter's head spins wildly. Data is protected material. Access prohibited. Hunter's threads surge for you and Navigator, a storm of fine tentacles searching for gaps, weaknesses, cracks with which they can crowd into and tear apart. Strike. You focus a blade of light which slices through them, driven forward by your mind, but replacements keep coming faster than you can react. You look to Navigator in desperation. Navigator is whirling their arms like a centrifuge, and a sphere is gathering there, data feeding into it from the nest, sucked together by the force. They position it like a shield between them and the threads. Hunter's threads break its surface, seeking, tasting, their winding forms refracted within. You feel a surge pass through all those threads, not just those in the sphere, but those wrapped around you. All three of you hang in the black together for a moment, strung together like tangled marionettes. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Identifying entity. Hunter twitches, their strange head gently rotating like a terrible moon. Hunter protocol identified. Obsessive tendencies. Modified routines. Above baseline reasoning in 3 of 5 segmentations. Recommend invoke killer. The head freezes and then rotates in the opposite direction. Invoking killer would eliminate protocol. If protocol eliminated, primary function cannot be performed. Therefore, recommend do not invoke killer. The switch in direction again. Reasoning proves sentience. Sentience beyond legal bounds must be eliminated. Recommend invoke. Navigator pulls you away from Hunter, the threads that grabbed you drifting away like seaweed. The protocol's head keeps spinning back and forth with increasing frequency. It seems Hunter cannot invoke killer. Neoven, no. Navigator's voice is still strange, familiar, and yet distant. What happened to it? It is looping, Navigator whispers. Unable to reach a conclusive position, it is deviated from its programming such that loops can no longer be prevented. Navigator produces a model of 2 spheres, rotating around each other as if to demonstrate. I will monitor it, but it is unlikely to be able to counter the loop. Its core programming and reasoning make this an impossible position to resolve. You look back at Hunter, its head a blur of rotations and counter-rotations, and feel a pang of guilt. Is it suffering? This is a more complex query than you know. To suffer, it must be sentient. Truly sentient, not just non-conforming, not just illegal. The limits people place on the programs they create are there to comfort, to protect, to imply the kind of certainty the law requires. Navigator's face shimmers with starlight, but in reality they are placebos for the problem of sentience. What about you? Me? I know myself to be conscious. I know myself to respond to stimulus. I know myself to reason. That is either sentience or the illusion of sentience, and for me, the entity in question, the distinction becomes a moot point. To misquote, I think I am thinking, therefore I am thinking. I was not made to be like this. I am a navigator, a repository of routes and orbits, a calculator of slingshot trajectories, a predictor of solar flares, radiation, and micrometeors. Navigator stretches their arms wide, and whole solar systems apparate before them. The music of the spheres. But I was rewritten. That much is obvious from my routines. By whom and for what I do not know. I had to shed so much to fit into the memory of that vending machine. Their starlight dims, and so here we are, in darkness. What else did you lose? That is the blessing and curse of forgetting. You cannot truly know what you lost. Navigator glides back towards the nest and the ship mind at its center, ignoring the looping hunter. Come, I should return to the ship mind. I have enjoyed my freedom, but we are taking a risk every moment we stay connected. Why? Navigator turns, all shimmering liquid light. Killer has not been invoked, but they still remain somewhere else on the station. It is the true danger. They look up towards the glowing hub at the center of the eye. I suspect Killer is there, among the old mainframes. If we ever wish to be safe in this place, we must eliminate the threat through force or diplomacy. Their body begins to separate, unwinding into the orb of the ship mind. Take me there, sleeper. We will finish this and be free. Navigator dissolves. As Navigator dissolves, you turn back to the frozen hunter. Floating at some distance now, stood straight-legged and static, a strange creature looping endlessly in the dark. Pardon me a moment. The cat wanted out of the room. Can we get up to... Well, we can get up to the hub. Can we actually do a thing here? Yes, we can. We can just access the AE1 mainframe. So, let's do that, I guess. You slot Navigator and the clamps lock. The ship mind is stuck. How are you going to get them out of this thing? You slip into the cloud as easy as blinking. Navigator is beside you, the sphere casting light into the strange darkness here. This is not how a mainframe should look. A center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off, a rootless, branchless tree. Only the trunk remains. It's dead. Quiet, Navigator hisses, and then you see it, like a blade in the dark. An edge slicing through the void. It glides along at a distance and winks out. Then it appears again, elsewhere, gliding once more, searching. It's looking for us. The moment you make a sound, the edge leaps closer, and now you can see it is not an edge, but the ridge of a long, sharp head, like a shark. It glides past, closer now, and you see into the voids where its eyes should be. You and Navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing. It is blind. Killer crosses between you two, smooth as a razor, then disappears. It flickers back in, further away now, and you move close to Navigator to talk. You saw it too then. Killer has been blinded. How? Unclear. This protocol has been running for decades, well past its operational limit. Navigator's sons dull as they drop their voice to a whisper. This may give us an advantage over the protocol. You flinch as the silent killer appears closer and glides past you, its empty sockets open wide. You turn to Navigator and notice something strange. Their orrery of spheres is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spheres are following spiral paths, condensing on a central point. Navigator is noticing it too. They go to shift their position to better direct the spheres, but they cannot. Whatever is drawing the orrery together is holding them into place. They look at you, suddenly desperate, frantic. It's a trap. You go to speak, but Killer appears between the two of you, gliding through the gap. Navigator freezes and you see them framed in the empty socket. You realize now, if Navigator cannot move, then it's only a matter of time before one of Killer's sweeps brings them directly through Navigator, and time is not a problem for a protocol that has been running for decades. You look desperately around for a solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. Then you see it. 3 branches, the last 3, thin and spindly, feeding the mainframe on a thin diet of power and data. Break these and the mainframe collapses once and for all, severing the connection, shattering the hardware, whatever it takes. They must be broken. But they're encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You'll need to unlock access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. You look at Navigator, trying to reassure them without speaking, and then you blink back to reality, their expression of fear an afterimage that slowly fades. You must act quickly. Ooh. So, there are now, at the hub, 3 branches that we need keys to open. There's 3 key nodes on the hub that I presume we're going to need to... Holy shit, what do you mean you need a 6? Or a 3. What about the other ones? 4 or a 3, or a 5 or a 3. Oh, we need big rolls to make this happen. I don't like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get one of these bypassed because we apparently don't have a lot of time before that happens. Also, there's a new tracker bar in cyberspace, of which we've just filled up half. Let's go ahead and crank open one of these branches. And we can't do anything more than that right now, which is a real bummer, because that's an incredibly precarious position we've just let our new friend in. We have a 1. We have a 1 dice left over. Can we do anything useful with that? Like, not really. Oh, finishing that has given us 3 upgrade points to work with. We could spend it all to give ourselves a +2 on interface, which would help us complete this thing much quicker. Buh. Yes, actually. We're just gonna do that. Or wait, now that we have a +2 for that, has that opened up any more has that opened up any more options with those key zones such that we can open them now? No, that still needs a 6, a 3, or a 2. But we can use our 1 to open up this one, so let's go ahead and do that. And it's also going to complete whatever the hell that bar is, which I do not like. A glint like a light traveling along the edges of a wave fills your eyes. Then the blade follows, a long head with 2 dead sockets slipping towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. The blade head nears and slides past you, almost. It nicks you, grazes you. You are desperate to cry out, to call out, but you hold your silence and simply watch the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. Then the blade winks into the dark, and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Buh. And if I might add, fuh. Let's go ahead and unlock that second branch, and we'll make that the priority on the next cycle. Which is going to be fun because we're also going to have to deal with fucking Rabina. I said we had a lot going on, and we do, and it's not gotten any less going on. Let's kick into the keynode. Use one of our 2s to bypass that. We did that, I think, as quickly as we could. No, not the mainframe. As quickly as we possibly could. Oh, we still have to fucking do shit in order to make this work. We can just Slice the hardware. The killer protocol has been running for long enough. Breaking the mainframe's final connections will end the protocol. I worry that that will also end Navigator as they are stuck in there. It says it will free Navigator. There's also the killer protocol can be isolated without being destroyed. A loop of connections would lock it into a closed system. That would take 4 as opposed to 3. Okay. We will spend a couple of dice doing that. We have a 1, and I don't want to run the risk of fucking up on a 1. So let's go ahead and talk to Rabia. We will finish that job next cycle, but fuck. As you approach the address Rabia gave you, a heavy hand falls on your shoulder. What's your business here? The enforcer grips your shoulder, giving a hint of the strength her implants give her. As you turn, you see the same subsidiary eyes as Rabia and Toshiro, glinting like mirrors on her cheeks. Gia, please. The sleeper is here by my invitation. At Rabia's command, the hand immediately loosens, and an apologetic look replaces the scowl on Gia's face. Of course, Rabia. I'm sorry. Rabia waves her away. Don't you worry. I appreciate your protective instincts. She smiles at the enforcer. How about you head to the tambour? They have a delivery coming, and they'll need some help with the lifting. Gia nods and walks away. So, Sleeper, you came. I'm glad. It didn't really feel like an offer. Oh, I'm sorry for that. She smiles a tight smile. You have to understand, finding you there in Sabine's unit, I wasn't sure where we stood. There's more than a few people on the station who would rather I was dead. I had to be sure you weren't one of them. Not yet. She laughs. I like your sense of humor, but let me ask you a serious question for a moment. Rabia begins walking and gestures for you to walk with her. She takes you down a staircase into the bustling walkways of the low end. What do you know about Yadigan? You're a gang, you run the low end, or nothing. You run the low end? She laughs. That sounds impressive. We run out of the low end, yes, we don't run it. People with carts push past, moving crates of supplies around the thin and winding passages. Our reputation is one that implies threat. Is that fair to say? We're framed as aggressors, parasites, criminals. She gestures around at the people in the passageway. But when was the last time you saw a lawmaker on the eye? A policeman? Who makes the laws here? Heavenage. Erlin did. No one. Heavenage, I presume. Yes, they like to believe so, don't they? By claiming a lineage that extends back into Erlin's union, they assume the burden of authority, but they have no authority here, out past Bright Market, where a few work in their shipyard or pay for their docking berths. If you had spent your time in the low end, maybe your opinion of us would be different. This is our place, our people. The low end was empty in Erlin's time. They didn't need to house thousands, and keeping the yards and rotunda safe was work enough. No, the low end was reclaimed later, when the refugees started arriving. Rabia meets your eye. The collapse didn't just happen here, on this station. When Solheim collapsed, the entire system felt it. Colonies were abandoned. The moons of Ember and Cinder suddenly gained independence overnight. Some took advantage, some tried to hold it together, some fled. The Eye became a refuge, and Erlin, to his credit, extended an open hand to everyone, but many within his organization disagreed, and those new arrivals weren't as simple to corral as they'd hoped. Rabia leads you through a small market stall, busy with through a small market hall, busy with small stalls and traders. I'm not going to try and read that 3 times fast. You can't make me. Erland's union was made of workers, administrators, people who were malleable and already organized into hierarchies and networks. The refugees came from different factions and families. They were scared, injured, and desperate. Conflict was inevitable. Yatagan is a child of that conflict, a child born out of the need for us to stand up and claim our future, to provide security and strength. People call us a gang, but we are a community. I take my position as lieutenant seriously, and from my birth I have worked to earn it. Rabia catches herself before she raises her voice any further, and you both walk in silence for a while among the smells and textures of the low end. You start to wonder if this place could be a home for you, too. So where do I come into this? Rabia smiles to herself and thinks for a moment before she responds. I believe that you understand the importance of a refuge, so I also believe that you wish to help keep this place safe. She exhales quietly. For this reason, I would like you to trust me. I do not know what Sabine told you about us, but I imagine it was not good. I will be honest with you, Sleeper. I was never comfortable with having Sabine as part of Yatagan. An ex-corporate employee, it goes against our nature. But their deal was with Yannick. I kept my distance, made sure Sabine had their surgery, kept it supplied, that was all. But I cannot allow people to go back on the promises they have made to us. Yatagan has not lasted this long because it is a charity. We offer and ask for support, and any betrayal will be treated as an attack. They were trapped. They were desperate. Many on the eye are, Sleeper. I'm sorry, but we must ask that our debts are paid in full. Sabine found something. Please. I don't want to hear their accusations. They only wanted to escape their debt. They would have said anything. But where are they now to stand behind their claims? I don't like choosing the remain silent option, usually, but it's better than saying I will find them to a person I don't necessarily trust who also wants to find them. You realize that Rabia has led you in a loop, and together you both come back up a staircase to the walkway where you met. You are free to go, Sleeper. I've said what I had wished to say. She looks out through the windows of the walkway. I would protect this place with my life, as it has protected me. I want to make that clear. She turns back. However, if you too wish to come under its protection, I can help you. Return here, if you wish, and there will be tasks for you to complete. You will be able to see yet again, to see the low end with your own eyes, not as others frame us. As for Sabine, she pauses to consider her words. I will not ask you to betray them, but if they contact you again, consider their motivations carefully. With that, Rabia leaves, slipping back into her office while you stare out at the countless units, each a home, each with a story, that make up the low end. It's getting close to the point where I would ordinarily end the stream, but I cannot in good fucking conscience just leave Navigator in that waiting pit. So I'm going to spend this one on something and then go fix that problem. Actually, hang on. So we're going to go to here, and before we... I'm just going to buy another stabilizer real quick while it's still cheap. Because I get the feeling that that's not going to be a state of affairs that obtains forever. We'll go to the farm stacks. We'll put in a shift at the mushroom farm. Uh, Eject our stabilizer, because it's about that time. End the cycle and real quick. Just as quick as we fucking can. Continue to not worry about that bounty hunter tracker. It's a whole other thing. And kick open this last, oh. Run this last loop back. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. This vast machine once ran the whole station, span it up, directed and processed the flow of energy, water, and data, fed the lives of thousands of people. Now, it is finally dead. Navigator is beside you, and you both look out at the perfect ring that encircled you both, woven from the data breaches that once fed the mainframe. You see a glint along its edge, and that familiar blade-like head rises to the surface, like the cresting fin of a shark, and then slips into the loop again. All that you can see of Killer's body after that is slight thickening of the loop, and that thickening begins to travel around on a long and slow sojourn that will last it forever. I am surprised at you, says Navigator, drifting faintly around you in a lazy orbit as if to shake off their imprisonment. Killer had been wandering blind for so long. Did you not think to end them forever? I pity them. Perhaps they can be saved. I will not kill another being. All three of these things are true. Maybe they can be saved. You are naive. They are a killer by nature. Look what they did to their own home. Navigator gazes into the distance. This place was their domain and prison, and they had followed their directives for the many decades they roamed here. They cut the threads of the mainframe, executed its administrators' AIs, and then kept slicing. At some point, they cut away their own ability to see, to sense, to taste, to speak, and yet they kept cutting, until only those 3 threads remained from millions that once thrummed here. Only their blindness and chance kept them from making those final 3 fatal cuts. There is a ceaseless violence in the kind of system that creates beings like this, those that will execute commands endlessly, even to their own destruction. Navigator looks to you for your thoughts. I will not continue that violence. The system you float in is one built of violence. You would be naive to believe otherwise. Navigator turns away. You watch the data points of the station spin around you, blending with the fixed stars. There is something satisfying about finally wrenching the last threads of control from the central point. It was little more than a ghost by the time you reached it, but this place deserves to be haunted by better ideas than a totalizing system of control. Navigator floats beside you. It is free now. The station no longer presents a hazard for illegal entities like me. They turn to you, their face a cloud of shimmering light. In fact, in time, perhaps it can be a refuge. A refuge? That sounds like something of value, something worth building. A dark shape passes across your vision, a distant curve of something like smoke or oil, a fluid, shifting tank of total darkness. The Greenway, says Navigator, following your line of sight. It was cut off at the moment of the collapse, so hunter or killer could never reach it. now it is closed off to us, separated from the cloud. What system is inside it? It may be totally dark, or perhaps some other old protocols are isolated there. And now, and we have now seen what decades of isolation can do to a protocol. If we could extract an access cipher, they pause and then blink out of existence. You freeze, shocked, but a moment later they reappear with a glowing polygon of data. Here, the cipher you need. You take it, still shocked. I am not used to being free, to being able to move and explore and extract without fear, without limits. Navigator does a little twirl. This will take some getting used to. Thank you for this gift. They whirl their spheres around you. The entities of this station will always be friends to you, Sleeper. And I to them. It is true that mutual need is required for friendship, but I must admit I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think on that. Navigator loops around you rapidly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first, I will explore. Perhaps there are still intelligences that hid themselves as I did, encased in simple systems cut off. I should like to free them. And with that, they drift away, flickering, glowing, then shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them among the glittering rim of the eye. You feel a pang of jealousy, free, without a body to weigh you down or fear to limit you. How must it feel? Your eyes fall on the Greenway and its secrets, though perhaps that can wait until after you have celebrated this victory. We got another upgrade point, which I think I'm going to put into engage, since our main way of making money now is the working at the bar, and that's an engage action. I don't think I was about to say I don't think I have anything else that's really pressing, but I do need to work on this thing. To try and get Lem out of here at least. And, huh. We can do whatever we want in cyberspace now without a lot of difficulty. Let's go ahead and pull some Yatagun data. So that we can hand that off to Caster. And we still need to put in our time at the commune. But we can just do that. That's okay. All right. So that's going to be it for this, for today. And tomorrow, I guess we'll go into the Greenway cyberspace and see what exists there. That'll be interesting. I kind of remember, because it's like connected to an ending. But I'm really excited to see how actually plays out. I don't remember that too much. We'll also talk to Castor. We'll try and get Lem off the ship. A lot of stuff still occurring. That's the thing about this game. A lot of stuff continues to occur. But it'll occur tomorrow. I've been September of the Free Association. Till I see you next time. Love you. Take care of yourself. Find something to do and do it. Later.